In this exercise, we're going to learn about the concept of drop shadowing as it applies to cascading style sheets. This is basically the idea where we take a duplicate version of a piece of text and make it appear as a shadow of the original text. So let's take a look and see how this would work. In your book, you're asked to go back to the style sheet and place a specific piece of code in the main nav hover. And what this means is that this will only apply to those main navigation areas when we hover over them with our mouse. Now, I haven't saved this style sheet where I just added the text from the book, but I'm going to go back to this page, and you notice we already have some styles assigned. For instance, when we hover over one of these navigation items, the text turns white. And if we go back to the style sheet, we'll see where that actually makes sense, because it is specified when we hover over one of those items using the hover pseudo tag, we are specifying that the text should turn white. Now we're actually creating a drop shadow as well. It's hard to see. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and then we'll take a look at how it looks in the browser. We'll reload this page. And it is very tough to see, but it is there, and on your screen it's probably even harder to see in this video. I'm going to go ahead and boost up the size of this page, and by the way, you can usually do this on any Windows machine just by pushing Control and the plus symbol, and it increases the size of the page in your browser. You can do the same thing in reverse by pressing Control and the minus or negative symbol. But take a look at this rooms tag, and when I put my mouse over it, all of a sudden there's some little bits of black that appear, and that's because we've set the color to black. Now we've only made the shadow 1 pixel off. So in order to really visualize what happens, let's go back to the style sheet and let's actually change these measurements. And these measurements could be positive or negative. We're going to just change them from 1 to 10. And I'm actually going to change the color as well to green so it will stick out a little bit more. To our web page, and we're going to push reload. And when I hover over these items, now you start to see this green showing up just below the text. And it's a shadow. It kind of takes the same form, although it's a little blurrier. That's one of the reasons we set the blur tag. But it just makes the items stick out. Again, watch as I'm going over each of these items. You'll notice that a green shadow appears underneath them. Going back to the style sheet, let's go ahead and turn this green color back to black as specified in the textbook. We'll save the document, and then we'll reload the page. And now you can see the shadow that's showing up just below and to the right of the text is now this black color. It sticks out quite a bit with this setting, and that's why the book asks you to just use a smaller setting of 1 pixel instead of 10 pixels in size. And drop shadows are something that can be helpful as a visual cue to the user, but they shouldn't be so apparent that they kind of stick out and say, hey, I'm a drop shadow. It just should be an enhancement that's hardly even noticeable. I'm going to go back to my style sheet, change these measurements from 10 pixels each to 1 pixel each. Each of those 3 measurements is defined on the bottom of page 221. There's a little chart that says values for the drop shadow property. You can get more information about what each of those measurements are for and how they show themselves on the HTML page. I'll go ahead and reload one more time. And now, again, it's kind of hard to notice on my screen, but you should be able to see on your screen. There's a little bit of difference, a little bit of shadowing below and to the right of each of the characters, the way we have it set up now. And again, experiment with this on your machine, and when you're done with this, you can go on to the next exercise.